Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of December 15th, 2022. The current character challenge is Bounty Hunter Lobo. That is a 1 week repeat. The required characters for that are Flash, Green Arrow, and Green Lantern, who are all available at the bronze level. So this is really one of the easiest fights to complete for, a newer player. And for several reasons, because there's also fewer fights than usual.
Right.
There's 9 each. And then 12 instead of 12 and then 15 on the ladders. So it goes 4 of 9 and then 1 of 12 instead of what's normally 4 of 12 and 1 of 15. And it's also the same at the second difficulty level, Expert.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably is Nightmare. I haven't checked in a while and we just didn't have time to get through everything.
So his passive is Hooked, which is when Lobo performs Special 2, the enemy cannot tag out until the fire damage over time runs its course, and every successful Special 2 makes the next Special 2 damage and damage over time length go up by 20%. He has got 1,250 attack and 950 health, and was last available on the 17th of February, 2022.
Right. And so he's got medium stats. They're low compared to the more recent challenge goals, or I should say more recent, to the ones that have been released more recently than he was. But at one point he had the highest attack. He didn't used to be medium. He used to be great. And I believe he was first released, his first challenge was pre-Tantu Totem, because I remember that his passive, the second part where doing Special 2 over and over increases the damage and the damage over time length. It was pretty useless, because it would rely on Special 2. It would take so long to get the second bar of power to use that part of his passive. And the biggest problem of his Special 2 is that it isn't ranged enough. The first hit doesn't reach the opponent if you do it right away and you've got Master's Death card. Master's Death card shoves the opponent too far away, and that's a pretty common loadout for a specialist, especially a Special 2 specialist, to have both Tantu Totem Master's Death card, which are, not coincidentally, or no, not, I don't even know what I was saying. Master's Death card happens to be this week's gear, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
So that's the ideal loadout, but we've tried making him relevant different ways. There's a link to the entire Lobo playlist in the description. Not this time, not what you're watching now, but the previous time when he was around, we had an attempt to make him relevant, and we would wait until Master's Death card finished the few little hits for the shove before starting Special 2. However, he was vulnerable to an opponent with power, which we solved by using Red Lantern Hal Jordan with Astro Harness, used him to take away all the power, and why he works so well is that we use Claw of Horus too. Even if the opponent has LexCorp gear set to reverse power drain, we'd shatter all his gears before the second Special 1 finished. And that would mean that the second Special 1 would probably drain, and if it didn't, he would be still vulnerable to Lobo. And the second Special 2 would second Special 1 would drain all his power.
Yeah.
The opponent, I mean. And so the current attempt is to give him Tantu Totem only and use Batgirl with Master's Death card. So Batgirl would give him the second bar of power. The usual problem when you split Tantu Totem Master's Death card, which you're seeing, is that if his Special 2 doesn't knock out the opponent, you're going to waste time getting back to 2 bars of power and making the most of him. But you at least have Batgirl, who on her own is a pretty potent Special 1 specialist. And the thing is, we want him to be great, right? Our avatar is literally Lobo. And he's really good, just not great. If we could have a passive like, say, Teen Titans Raven, or a teammate like New 52 Wonder Woman that would work with him, he could be great, because it's a matter of getting him to 2 bars quickly. And the other interesting thing about him is that despite having damage over time on his Special 2 and having a passive that works with his Special 2, his Special 2 still does, I think, full value damage. We compare him to Shazam Prime, who had the same damage stat. They both do the same amount of damage on Special 2, despite Shazam really not having any secondary effect. Because there's lots of characters with secondary effect that will have reduced damage, like Regime Superman, half damage because it's unblockable. Arkham Knight Catwoman does 3/4 damage because she does damage over time.
So it's good. More sort of oomph than you'd expect.
Right.
Oh,
I got one other thing too, actually. It just occurred to me. The loadout that you see on him is Quake Engine, which makes him a little bit more effective because Quake Engine is the one where it restarts the damage over time if on whoever's sitting in front of you once it's supposed to be finished.
Yeah.
So you could really lock in the opponent better than you normally would and have a chance to tag in and out like you see with our Hawk Girl. So we do a bunch of stuff to the opponent without letting them get away from us.
Mm-hmm. So this is the 134th week of a repeating pattern that first appeared in May of 2020. So that's 3 complete runs of 43-week challenge cycles and 5 weeks into the 4th cycle. Next week, we expect to see Arkham Killer Croc. And just a reminder, 23 challenge characters are missing from that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
This week's multiplayer award is Master's Death Cart, which has the following abilities. After tag-in, enemy blocking stops 20% less damage for 6 seconds. There's a 100% area effect, which is the opponent's team takes 15% damage from your special attacks. There's a 100% chance of an area effect. Your opponent's team takes 35% damage on your combo ender, and the evolved ability, which is a 100% chance to deal 20% unblockable damage on tag-in. This was last available on the 12th of May, 2022. We are 101 weeks in a row through this pattern. That's 3 complete cycles of a 31 reward sequence and 9 in a new 4th cycle.
Okay.
And unlike the challenge cycle, nothing's missing from the multiplayer rewards, and we should expect to see Rebirth Wally West as long as that cycle continues next week.
Okay. So the funny thing is, earlier in my mind, I sometimes talk faster than I'm thinking, and I was going to say not coincidentally, when it's the exact opposite. It is actually a total coincidence that this happens to be week of Master's Death Card, because they're on 2 different cycles, like 2 different cycles.
Match up exceedingly rarely.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And, the one reason why it's not that uncommon is that Master's Death Card is great. Master's Death Card works on so many different characters.
Right.
So, most weeks would be a good challenge character pairing for a Master's Death Card.
Right. So Master's Death Card is an excellent 4.5 star gear. It's got a bunch of abilities, and the reduced blocking, I don't even notice it that much because the unblockable tag and damage usually lets you get unblocked hits. It's not really unblockable because you can block it. It's just that it usually catches your opponent by surprise.
Yeah.
And even if they are blocking, if you wait for the right moment, they drop their block before they try to hit you. And the exception is when they have bars of power and do a special. And in this case, either the window is small enough, or maybe it just doesn't even exist, that it's very hard to sneak in an unblocked attack if they happen to be blocking when you tag in.
Yeah.
They will just, if you try to hit them at the end of it, they'll just do an unblocked special on you.
Yeah.
And the area effect is not as good as either, say, Fourth World Mace or League of Assassins Knives, because it doesn't happen all at once. It drips over time, like regular damage over time.
Yeah, it's not like damage over time. It is damage over time.
But
It's
the area
weird.
effect,
It's just not called that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you knock someone out and that teammate tags in, they stop taking the splash damage that they should have, which is a bit of a drag. And those are the stated abilities. The best part of it is the unstated, and you could almost say hidden ability. And the most important part of it is that unblocked damage is a bunch of tiny hits. It generates power. And so you can often get a second bar of power when you tag in if you're pairing this up with Tantu Totem. And this is great in multiplayer, and it's not so great in offline play, because in multiplayer, you generate more power by hitting, so you get more power with Master's Death Card. In offline play, your opponent generates more power by getting hit, so they get more power when you play with Master's Death Card.
Yeah. So it really depends on where you're playing this.
Yeah.
In the store, we have the Arkham Killer Croc Early Access Bundle. That is $24.99 Canadian. It does not... All these prices are going to be Canadian. We're in Canada. That's the price that we have access to.
Right.
And it doesn't unlock Arkham Killer Croc in the store. It's another clue. It sort of matches up with our challenge cycle information.
Right.
That Arkham Killer Croc is going to be next week's challenge.
Right.
We also have the Metropolis pack, which has been $24.99 for a little while now. all the way back into sort of 2021, but in January 2021 it was $26.99, so it's down in price,
Right.
but it's been down for a while. And that comes
Curse you, currency fluctuation.
Yeah, that comes with Superman, Crypto Lex Luthor, and Doomsday, who are all available directly in the store. So this is like one of those really kind of
Pretty bad packs.
bad packs, because you can just play and earn them relatively easily. There's no sort of special reason that you'd ever want to purchase it.
Right.
We also have the Ultimate Bundle Bringers of Justice for its second week.
And we've got a bunch of things that have been hanging around a long time. Survivor pack that actually has Bounty Hunter Lobo, which is even less worth it now, I guess. 49 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Character Bundle Batman Universe 54 weeks. Most Wanted pack 61 weeks. And our ongoing celebration packs. 46 weeks for Shazam and Joker, and a couple extra weeks for Aquaman, 48 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And what else do we need to talk about? So Phantom Zone is done. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was Cyborg, Batgirl, and Black Adam. And this coming weekend is probably going to be Deadshot, Wonder Woman, Static, because of the schedule that's been pretty fixed for a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
Link in the description to a Reddit thread from Devlin16 that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. This is the place where we would talk about current glitches if there was something new.
Yeah.
And there was nothing new this week.
Yeah, so if you want the sort of complete spiel, we do that on the first week of every month.
Even if nothing changes.
Even if nothing changes.
Right.
But for now, the important bit is that the challenge reset works, and the Phantom Zone reset also,
Well,
not testable right now, but it was working last.
Yeah,
and
very recently.
Yeah.
And that the current challenge Bounty Hunter Lobo, right? We tested it on it. And if you want to see a video tutorial for every working glitch, it's in the playlist. We will update that pretty much as soon as we have information. The problem is nothing's happened or changed for so long.
Yeah.
That there hasn't been anything new. And I guess that's it for this week.
Yeah. So to finish up, we'd like to give a huge thank you to all the folks who support us on Patreon. That is BomboBen, Console Peasant, and Edwoon at the top tier Last Word, Sinemac and Mohammed Albshaiti at the Your Message Here tier, Shawn, Farrell, Daniel Simonson, Aaron Maule, Michael DeVries, Brandon C., Irvin Ruiz, Eddydoo, and Hoshi127 on the credited level, and Chris Wolff, Scarlet, Dani, Awesomegamer241, Pavu RS, Gavin, Mallott, and Isfar E. at the gratitude level. Thank you so much for your support, and thanks so much to all of you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Komoda.